Welcome to the Reality After Show, probably my last podcast I will ever do because my Survivor dreams are fulfilled after our very special guest, Boston Rob, the one player that I admire, that I cannot believe I've never met in real life. So
he knows why.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to meet you and to have you on we're recording Sunday morning right after the whole daylight savings time. So all of us are kind of all, messed up on the time. But Jonny, you are here. You told me earlier this week that we have Boston Rob coming on. So just what do you think, Jonny, of just what's going on in our community? And you went to the beach yesterday for an entire Survivor event.
Well, I mean, if I'm going to have any winner on here other than, the Queen, because I feel like I anointed the Queen on Pearl Islands. If I could have any other winner, there's no other winner that I won't hear, and please, no other winner show up. Boston Rob is the guy I won't hear. Boston Rob, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jonny. Matt, pleasure to meet you. I'm happy to be here, dude. It's been a long time. We've had our ups and downs over the years, but I feel like Survivor family, strong. And when you reached out and asked me to come on, I said, absolutely, let's do it. So,
there was the money changed hands, BR. Let's be honest. I hope you don't mind that I sent that post-dated check.
No problem. We'll have the banks deal with it. It's all good.
Should clear by Thursday of next week. No problem.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting on a deposit.
So what is your guys' history like as far as when you met? I know, Rob, you said, you've had your share of ups and downs with Fairplay, as many have. So I want to ask a question from a Survivor fan, because this is what the fans want to hear. It's like, talk about you and Jonny briefly, not this is not the bash Jonny. I'm just curious kind of to explain the backstory.
I think Jonny and I came up in the heyday of Survivor when it was a huge phenomenon. We had 50, 30, 20 million people watching the finales, going down the streets. There were people hugging you, signing autographs, the whole thing. And I think a little bit the lines sometimes between being a character on TV, sometimes when you go into the public space of parties and stuff, we were young, we were drinking. There was sometimes, I think, I don't know for sure, but I think Jonny was playing a character a little bit, and sometimes those lines got blurred. At the same time, I tried to, maintain, who I was throughout it all. And sometimes he and we didn't see eye to eye on certain things. But I really feel the Survivor community, the Survivor family, should stand up for one another and help one another when we can. At the same time, if someone's kind of going in one direction, you don't want to be in that direction, it's okay to say no. And I think we said no a few times, right? But
we first met at Mark Burnett received the Philanthropist of the Year award in New York. Yeah. And we were in makeup together. And I was like, you walked up, you're like, hey, John. I was like, hey, Bob, nice to meet you. And you're like, it's Rob. And I'm like, oh, yeah. It's just right there. And honestly, that was not purposely done. I wish it was, the cerebral thing. It's just I'm just getting his head around and get go. It was a complete accident. And so from minute one, you're just like, oh, yeah, fuck this guy. I completely understand.
I mean, if we're being completely honest, it was something else beyond that, on the street. I feel like you tried to give me something, and I didn't know what it was, and I was like, I don't want any part of that.
Oh, well, that was many generations ago.
a long time ago, right? But
Yeah. The 2000 the zeros in 2000 were a lot different than they are now. I mean,
I think
Jesus.
it's indicative of the change that we see currently in the show right now too, right? Everything's kind of evolved. The world was a different place when we first played Survivor in the early 2000s, 2001, 2, 3, 4,
Yeah.
to it is in 2024.
Yeah.
And that dynamic you see represented in the product of what the show is now as
Right.
well. So you have a lot of people talking about what was it like when you played and what's it like now, and the juxtaposition of trying to meld the two. It's hard if you weren't there from the beginning to see the difference, right?
Yeah.
For someone who's just watching the show now to kind of see it through the eyes of someone that's been through it the entire time. It's not easy to conceptualize, I think. And I
Yeah.
think
So
our
and
relationship kind of evolved over the years too. At one point we kind of shook hands and squashed it, and we were like, we're good. And ever since then, we've been good. Yeah.
yeah, well, going into what used to be called Hearts to Reality and is now called Over the Edge Weekend, which we're gonna talk about here shortly. It was a couple of years back. I was 40. I'm 50 years old now, but I was going into being 50, and it's no secret. Lex Vandenberg is one of my best friends, a good friend of Matt Bischoff as well, and you guys had beef. And I know you just as much as me. We back our friends, and and you guys had this thing, and I was just like, okay, well, either you're a Boston Rob guy or a Lex guy. But going into Hearts that year, I was just like, look, I'm about to turn 50 years old. I don't need an enemy in my life. I was just like Boston Rob is here at Hearts Reality. It's a good cause. He's doing good things. I remember, a couple years prior to that, I was at breakfast with my oldest Piper, and she looks over and she goes, "Is that Boston Rob?" I was like, "Yeah." And it was early, some fans that come up, they're like, "Hey, can I?" It's just like, "Yeah, let me get my breakfast. Like, give me a minute." And Piper's just like, "Can I get a picture of Boston Rob?" I'm like, "Oh, you bet your ass you can." And he was like, "Oh, absolutely." But and they were just like, you know what? This guy didn't have to do that. It's like, especially for me, who he doesn't like. I was like, so going in when I saw you that last time at Hearts, I was just like, this is stupid. I can still be Lex's friend, and I can be your friend because you're friends with some of my best friends. So is everyone wrong? No, I think there's something. We are a community, and most importantly, we are a family. And yeah, we had that conversation, and we had a big hug, and I was just like, oh my, this is like a breath of fresh air because what, if there's no cameras, why are we feuding? There's the money.
It's true. And truthfully, with the Lex stuff, Lex and I for a lot of years, it I don't want to speak for him, but
Sure.
from my point of view, I totally squashed it a long time ago. I think the real beef happened right after, the whole thing went down with All Stars. It was really fresh for him. He was trying to understand it and everything. I remember I flew to California and tried to squash it after the show was over, before it aired. I went to his hometown, apologized. I was like, "Listen, dude, I was playing the game. It got the best of me, whatever." And he's like, "I'm not ready to accept the apology." I was like, "Okay, whatever." Went to New York for the finale. In New York, again, tried to, extend the olive branch. And he still kind of threw it back and was like, "No, I don't want," I remember I was in the elevator with my dad and he was like, "No, and I was like, "Man, at some point, I can't just keep trying. If he wants to hold on to it, let him hold on to it." And then it was years later, I saw him at Hearts of Reality, and I went up to him. I shook his hand. I was like, "Man, this has been going on way too long. Let's just let it go." And we did. We shook hands, and since then, I've never, I don't think it's still an issue.
No, you guys are. I think you guys are good, and it's cool that something like Hearts Reality does not now Over the Edge Weekend. If you don't have grace in your heart on an occasion like that, when are you? Especially when we were doing the deal with Hearts for Give Kids the World. It's just
Right.
let's find the spot. But real quick, I mean, let's address that elephant. All right. Little known fact, you and Lex were beyond tight going into All Stars.
We were very good friends. We talked on the phone all the time. Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We sure
did. And you guys were going back and forth across the country hanging out as well. And so there is that moment on All Stars when you go to Lex and you're just like, hey, I need you to save Amber. And he's like, hey, it kind of screws up my game. And it's just like, look, this isn't the game talking. This is me talking.
Right.
This is just broad strokes observer version of what happened. And Lex does that. Fast forward, it's not optimal for Lex. There's a swap, and then the roles are reversed, and Lex is like, hey, I need you to help me now. And you're just like, yeah, sorry, game.
Yeah. I mean, yes and no. There's kind of like a little bit more to it, but like I don't want to dig up the minutia of like he said, she said, years and years later. But yeah, for the most part, you're correct. He helped me, and I didn't return the favor. So I own that.
Well, and kudos for owning it. But I will say this: I consider myself one of the greatest players in the history of Survivor. My mom has sat me down. She's like, as great as you think you are, Sandra's better. And you can say she did nothing. That's great. She won. So Lex will tell you, it's just like, hey, Lex, you're great and all that. He's like, Boston Rob's a better player. I could not separate the game. Boston Rob can. And kudos. I mean, like that, literally, we're at the end of the day, we're not there to see who can be my best friend. You're there to win Survivor.
Coming from the guy that made up a lie about his grandmother actually being alive.
I've lied about much worse.
I mean, so don't try to butter me up like you don't have game. We all saw it.
But I will say,
I'm not going back for season 50 to play, so you don't have to get on my side.
Oh, don't lie. Whoa. All right, you want me to call you out? All right, so peek behind the curtain, everybody. Boston Rob never comes to Hearts Reality or Over the Edge or any event there is unless it's a returnee season. And
True
so
story.
we'll see December 6th through 9th.
I'll only be there till the 8th, but yeah. No. That's amazing.
I'm only making partial alliances. I'm not.
We can side bet on it if you want. I could use a few extra. No, I'm good.
It's another check, Rob. You don't want it. The first one's not going to cash either.
But I want to say we've had Lex. Lex is a great friend of mine. He was actually one of my all-time favorite Survivor players, and so Lex has definitely talked about your feud to me and Jonny in the past at our house. And last time I spoke about this with him, he said he's squashed it. And I think that the reason that he had such a ordeal when you've tried multiple times to apologize, Rob, is he's a passionate, like punk rock attitude kind of guy. And I think that punk rock attitude was like, I'm hardcore, if you fuck me over, like we're done. And I think that's what his attitude was for a while. But I think over time, realizing that Survivor is a game, and we see this now. I mean, there was way more beef, I think, happening, in the 2000s, early 2000s than there are now.
Yeah, that was
it's almost
the
like it's
kumbaya.
kumbaya.
The culture was beef.
I think the community was smaller, so it felt more personal. It was the same 40 or 50 people hanging out, where now there's literally 800, 900. So I think because of that, it felt more personal to everybody.
Yeah. So I'm glad it's over, and I'm glad our beef is. I mean, I literally purposely approached you at the beginning of that week, and I'm just like, me and Boston Rob, if we squash this, me and Boston Rob are hanging out. And me and Boston Rob hung out. You're a cool dude, as I said, there's a reasons we share friends.
Right. So I want definitely fun. I'm looking forward to going there this year. for a couple days, seeing everybody.
Make some alliances.
There's going to be some of my people from Deal or No Deal Island there that I haven't seen for a long time. So I definitely looked at the list of people. There'll be some new people too that I'm excited
Deal or
to
No
meet.
Deal Island. So I had not seen the show. I got a call to potentially be on season 2. Made it to the end of the finals. I don't know what happened. So they're talking to me. I'm just like, I got to watch this show. At this time, I have King George from Australian Survivor living with me, and he was like, Fairplay, let's just watch a marathon. And so we loved it. Like that was a fun show. Like because when you hear Deal or No Deal Island, you just think of Deal or No Deal, and it's like, oh my God, is this going to be stupid? It was great. And honestly, at that time, I liked the casting and the gameplay better than what was happening in New Era Survivor. And your friendship was amazing. And conversely, the old lady that hated your guts, she's at Hearts of Reality every year.
Yeah, she's great, Kim. I mean, I just had to get rid of her because she was just coming for me. But what's interesting about this show and that format, Deal or No Deal Island, is like very early on, I realized like it's a combination of skill and luck. And there's some things that you can't control, right?
Yeah.
Like the fact that like I almost told them before it even started, I was like, you have a little bit of a flaw where you take the two people that are on the bottom and basically give them a 50-50 shot of having all the power to eliminate anyone, and only one person can be protected. And then as the game went on, I realized, man, this is just me and my own internal need to want to control things. And like, if I just let it go and not worry about what you can't control, then the format is actually genius because it mimics life a lot. Like, there's so much you can do, but there's so much that's out of your control that you don't realize it.
Yeah.
And I think the New Age Survivor has taken a page out of that book, because you see, like, just in this episode last week where like you have things going on with your alliance and your tribe, and mathematically you got your numbers and you know who you're good with, and then all of a sudden there's a challenge where you're randomly divided in two, and all of a sudden, based on that draw, now you have to play the game, and your life in the game hangs in that balance. And that's like so jarring and so hard from a strategic controlling player to have to deal with that. And I think like it like mimics the fact that like if you don't have that balance, if you're not able to handle that randomness, then you're never going to be able to advance through the game. There's just going to be things that you can't control.
It's real life. I mean, like balancing, work and relationship and fun, and is that juggling act. And if you can't control one of them, the others could crumble. So I mean, like
exactly. But it's frustrating, right? Like, because imagine like you do everything to set yourself up really good, and then all of a sudden here comes a twist that you didn't see coming, and then you swear they made this twist up just for you. To mess with you because it looks too easy or whatever. And it's like that randomness of it makes it exciting for the audience, but makes it really frustrating for the players. So in that respect, when Jeff says like New Age Survivor is harder, it's more dangerous, I can see it being harder because there's less to control. But from like a physical strategic point, 26 days versus 39 days, it's hard for me to equate the two.
Yeah, I mean, I can starve for 20, and apparently a lot of these players do just starve for 26 days. It's just like, okay, well, you're taking the survival aspect out of the game Survivor, and I like the survival part of it. I thought that was a good component.
You can't take away the strategic part of the game, and I think, in a way, the new format kind of does that a little bit.
Yeah.
It kind of puts more, it swings the balance more towards luck and chance than it does towards skill. they've taken a concept of anybody's going to win Survivor to like, let's literally make it anyone, like just randomly.
Which I don't like randomly.
That annoys me, and I know that we've seen this in all these challenges and twists and advantages that they do, and even last week's episode when Rachel was on the fucking short end of the stick.
Gone. He doesn't have safety with power. She's out of this game.
So I was like, as I'm watching this, I'm like, as someone who I got screwed by a tribe swap, and I see like her game possibly being completely annihilated over a stupid twist. And then, Tiana's game, she went home. She was devastated.
By a twist.
Yes. So these things of chance, like I realize they have to keep things fresh. But man, like too much advantages and twists lead to more of just chance and luck. And some of my favorite players go home because of this kind of thing.
They don't want to make it too predictable.
You know what's also fresh, Rob?
Excuse me?
Old School Survivor. Old School Survivor is also fresh. No twists, no advantages. How about play with the skills that God gave you?
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. But it's funny what you said, Matt, about like, Tiana getting thrown over there on the other side, or the other girl getting thrown over there onto that tribe. Rachel, very similar to what happened to Amber in All-Stars, the situation with Lex that we're talking about. It was a twist, and just that divide put her on that side by herself with her entire team on the other side. She didn't have someone intervene, like I did, but you see the strategy evolve that if they just take her out just like that, then they're seen as a cohesive unit. So they have to make it look like there's a fraction within, right?
Yeah.
Boom, behold, Saul gets the safety without power, sends it to her anyway, so it doesn't even play out the way that it would have played out strategically. Maybe not. I
don't think anyone. I think Rachel knew they were coming after her, and I think the other half of the tribe saw, like, I think they saw a lot of bad acting. They're just like, it's this is all bullshit.
Yeah,
I mean, it's acting is tough. Okay, like you got,
somebody bring Johnny his flowers. He needs them again.
And trust, you know how hard it was for me to attempt to get a tear for the dead grandma thing. I'm like, oh my God, please just give me something. And Thunder D's like, I think I saw it. I was like, that was sweat, but if you bought it, great.
I think it was Claudia in Deal or No Deal Island that called Kim out on that when she was crying. She goes, "Those were dry ass tears. There was no moisture. She's full of it, The dry tear will get you every time."
Boston Rob, what is your overall take of New Era? Anything post season 40? Because literally, we have had to podcast about the show, which we all love, right? I love the show.
Well, we love the show. Okay, we love New Era. I was like, please.
Yeah, there's been very subpar seasons that I was just like not feel. I was like, this is not Survivor. I finally feel like season 47, Jeff Probst is listening and giving us just a little more of what we want to see. But what is your opinion? Kind of like, you're a legend. You played in the heyday with 50, 60 million people watching. It's not the same thing now. Are you still a fan of the show? And if you were to play this New Era format, do you think you would thrive in this environment?
It's hard, right? Because like I do realize that like as the world's changed, right, the game has to also evolve too. I think the two main things, if we're going to go like off script a little bit and talk about, is like the number one, the logistics of it, right? So the New Era started, right? Like after season 40, at the finale, Jeff said, "You guys broke it. I don't know what we're going to do from now." But something interesting happened and we had the pandemic, right? Yeah. So like this New Era was kind of born out of function. And a lot of people maybe don't know this, but at the end of the day, Survivor's a business, right? Like it's a show that's put on by the network and it costs a certain amount of money to make and they have to make it So with the pandemic going on, they had to incorporate a 2-week quarantine into the schedule. And there you go. They brought the people to the island for 2 weeks before they did it. And they said, can you still deliver 13, 14, 15 episodes in 26 days of filming? And they said, well, we're going to try because that's our jobs and that's a livelihood of 400, 500 people. So they did. And once they did, that was it. Yeah. Now the network knows we can do it in 26 days.
Why are we going to pay them for 36 or 38 or whatever?
Yeah. So from a business point of view, it makes a lot of sense. They save a lot. So now it's really hard. Jeff has to sell to the audience and everyone else that it's the same game and it's, more dangerous and it's harder and it's faster. And I do believe like playing that game in 26 days versus 39 days definitely proposes some more difficult situations. The fact that it is a lot faster, you have to make those relationships quicker. You have to make the decisions quicker. There's no down days. You don't have the time to kind of make your strategy work, and you have to adapt quicker. As far as the twist and everything else, I think they're trying to insert other things so that it doesn't become predictable. And admittedly, like Jeff has like done things and he's said like, we try different things. Some things work, some things don't work. And he owns that. So I think like the functionality of what they have to do now versus like the nostalgia of me being like, back in my day, this is how we did it, and it was better.
Like to the sun.
Yeah, like you want to feel that. But I'm friends with some of the guys that are the new age guys, and they wish they had the opportunity to do it the old school way. Yeah. Will it ever go back to that? I don't know. Maybe. I definitely think that there's a nostalgia from the hardcore fans that have been there for the past 25 years. They like it the way it was, and I think they would love to see that play out again. Yeah. Now, from a strategy point of view, how do you keep that old school mentality and not have a boring season where you just have like a straight up pagong or, you know what I mean?
Big personalities.
Numbers, you stay with it.
Cast, I think you borrow the challenge formula in which you bring people back every season. So you don't have to spend the time establishing who these characters are. You just like 50 or 51 through 60 is just returnees. And then instead of spending the time on, here's Billy, who we don't care about, it's, all these people and these people can make your show. House the Villains. You have a Jonny Fairplay and a Johnny Bananas there. We're going to produce your show in field. You're good.
I mean, there's definitely, and we've seen it in a resurgence of other shows on other networks, the reutilizing of these, known characters and stuff. But at some point, those characters become predictable and you don't want to see them anymore. The challenge, it's basically the same show over and over and over again.
Well, season 40 is ratings-wise, is the most successful in years.
Yeah, I feel that. But I think, because of the advent of streaming and everything, you have brought an entire new generation up to speed on the old school players, right? Okay. But at some point, we have to continue to introduce new people too. Otherwise, it just dies out. And I think Jeff gets sick of seeing the same people over and over. I mean, you and I both know, within the Survivor community, there's a hierarchy too, right? Where people don't forget, right? You played a season with somebody 10 years ago and something, I'll give you a perfect example. On season 40, we were out there and we're on the edge and Parvati and Yul are going at it. And Yul is harboring something about what happened, on one of their earlier seasons for 10 years. And Parvati's like, are you kidding me? You're still holding on to that? Yeah. People don't forget, dude. They hold it. They hold it. They hold it through the seasons. They hold it through the shows. I'm telling you, one time, that first impression, you get one chance.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Psychologically, it would be a fun experiment to see them go back and try to do an old school type season. Whether it actually happens because of functionality, I don't know. And I do think like Jeff gets a lot of heat, but I think he has a difficult job trying to manage
He has two
what the
masters.
network wants, what the audience wants, and try to predict what's going to come in the future. That's not easy to do.
Do you have a relationship with Jeff Probst? Like, are you guys friends? I mean, I know you're like one of the biggest Survivor players of all time, Rob.
Yeah.
Do you talk to him? And in addition to that, we've always said, man, if Jeff Probst like stepped away from hosting the show, who could you bring in to be the next Jeff Probst? And there's, hands down, your name is on that list. Would you get involved in production if given the opportunity?
I mean, okay, so first question, I do consider myself a friend with Jeff. We text and call once in a while. I'm not hanging him out with him on the weekends and stuff. He's pretty busy. I think Jeff's going to be a lot like Bob Barker. They're going to have to steal that snuffer away from him. He is the show. He's always been the show. If someday it came to that, then I'd be crazy to not consider it. But
real quick, Boston Rob, have you watched Australian Survivor at all, or no?
I've never actually seen it, and I know that's kind of crazy to say, but I haven't. I know of it. I know some of the people that are involved in it, but I've never seen an episode. I don't even know where to see it.
I'll send you a link, but no.
But where do you watch it? Like the audience probably wants to know. Like, where do you watch? Like, how do you watch it?
Oh, we have links at realitypatron.com, no problem. But I'll send you it. So no, Jonathan LaPaglia, the host, he's really good and very good looking, and apparently neighbors of Probst. Like he actually lives in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay.
So, but if Jonathan LaPaglia is not up for the job, is this a gig Boston Rob's interested in?
Like I said, if Jeff, I think Jeff's going to be going a long time. I don't know that the show keeps going without him, but
I'm cool. I like. I mean, there have been moments in the new era that I was just like, oh, stop. Like whatever the tribal boogie or whatever. Like there's just been some odd moments. I'm just like, holy moly! But I mean, Jeff's Jeff. He's a staple. He's a national treasure at this point. Right. So I'm cool there. But yeah, no, I think the two most viable options that most people have thrown out there is definitely Jonathan LaPaglia and, of course, the Boston Rob. So kudos for being in the conversation.
In the conversation.
and Rob, you played like tons of shows as Jonny Fairplay has done, right? Yeah. So you've done The Amazing Race, you've done the Deal or No Deal Island. What, besides Survivor, what was your favorite reality TV experience of a show that you've been on?
I really, like Johnny said, I really enjoyed doing Deal or No Deal Island. I thought that was super fun. Like, a different format to be able to be involved in something from the very beginning in its first season and help to kind of shape what the strategy is and stuff and figure it out in real time. That was special. Plus the fact that like, we're still on the island. There's still a competition, but we're sleeping in tents and we're getting fed 3 times a day. It was like a nice bonus. And most recently, this past summer, I don't know if everybody knows, but I did the show The Traders over in Scotland. I went over and participated in that. It'll be coming out on the 9th on Peacock, January 9th. And that is like a completely different kind of show. It's similar that there's challenges and it's like a social strategy type game, like a murder mystery in a castle. But the biggest difference is there's so many people together, right? Yeah. I think there's like 21 or 22 people all together. It's like my brain was in a blender the entire time trying to figure out, we call it GTO, game optimal theory, game theory optimal strategy, rather. Because in a tribe with like 8 or 10 people, you have to manage 7 or 9 or 10 people. In this, you have to manage like 20 different people, and like you think you know what's going on, and then like you really don't, and like you're guessing a lot of the time, and so you rely on like your own psychology and stuff. So that was that's a really, really fun show. I think people are gonna enjoy that.
Rob, it's easy. It's the gamers versus all the housewives. Have you not figured this part?
Yeah. That's what it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah. We have all signed up to join Peacock Network to watch Real Housewives versus the greatest gamers in the history of reality television.
That's an unbelievably great analogy, Johnny.
Why are the Real Housewives a tribe versus the greatest gamers ever?
Look at Phaedra out of nowhere. Who knew? She's a gamer.
I
She's
know.
a gamer at heart, right?
Don't tell anybody.
Don't tell anyone.
So
House
Rob,
of Villains season 2. You have Camilla from Bad Girls Club. She's like, I've watched every season of Survivor. Screw you, Richard Hatch. And I'm just like, wow. I'm just like, you could work with Richard. Well, Richard Hatch makes it difficult to work with Richard Hatch.
That's a harder thing for me because I really love like all of these shows and these competitions, but it's tough after all these years to show up in any of those settings and them not, like me not have a big target right from the get rid of them right away. Which, like, famously I said, like, they should every time, but now I wish I never said that.
Don't listen. I was just saying that that was a confessional you weren't supposed to hear.
Do you consider yourself a villain, Boston Rob? Because, like, you are loved by many. I mean, Johnny is a self-proclaimed, I am a villain, and plays that, like, what do you consider yourself from your point of view?
I don't really think about it, but I think, like, in the context of a game, like, I'm going to do whatever I can do within the context of the game to try to win. So if that means, lying or trying to get an advantage of looking at someone's puzzle or whatever, like, I'm doing what I think I can do.
Don't look at someone's puzzle, Rob.
I wasn't supposed to look at the puzzle. I know. But in Survivor, you can, right?
I know.
Cost me,
Also, pay attention when they're going over the rules.
Well, that's another story, but like they legit did tell us, like, you can't look at another person's puzzle, but in the very next breath, they said, it's up to you whether you want to cover it or not, right?
Mm-hmm. So we're on the honor system.
If we can't look at it, like my brain, like, so.
Yeah, I'm with you. I would have suffered the same fate because I'm anti, like, all those things. I'm just like, why aren't there dividers? Have you ever watched the challenge? There's dividers. Give us dividers.
She ran into the maze. Amy ran into the maze, and before Joe called stop, she literally turned around and she was coming out of the maze to cover her puzzle.
Yeah,
to take her things off so that nobody could see it. So it's like, it was a little confusing. Anyway,
so the fact that he almost did and didn't, you're like, well, this is free game.
Yeah, that's what you think at the time.
I'm with you. Like, a lot of people, they're just like, are you guys on the same? We're very much on the same page, people. Trust me. We subscribe to a very similar playbook, but I don't have the BR rules. So available via Amazon.com.
Well, Rob, you also, what I've noticed is you have a pretty tight friendship with Jonas. I look at his Instagram profile, Jonathan Strength from the New Era.
Jonathan Young, yeah.
So like, so he is, I know Johnny wasn't like the most massive fan of his, but I liked him. He was like one of the most physical, beastly players, and you guys have seemed to have this friendship. Kind of explain to me how that started and who some of your other New Era players who you admire.
Yeah. So Jonathan, actually, just because he lives near me in Florida, and at the time, my kids were watching the show and they really liked him because he was really big and everything, strong. So I reached out and I was able to get his number through someone. And I texted him and just asked if he would meet me for lunch and, I'll buy him a beer and, if he could meet the kids and my family. And he said, absolutely. And we went to a local place on the beach and we had lunch. And yeah, we became friends because he lives near me and he likes to play sports. We play tennis together sometimes. He
He's a
just helped me work in
sweetheart.
my garage. Like, like we just became friends. He's a good dude. We have a
Yeah.
lot of similar interests. He's into construction. I'm into construction, sports, and I don't know how to describe it other than like we met and then
he's one of the most as far as new era players, like I really liked watching him
he's
play
a
and
sweetheart.
Hoboken Mike.
I was against him, on the podcast because, I'm trying to make content, we're trying to have fun. I'm like, this big guy that my fiance finds ridiculously attractive. He's probably the worst, right, guys? When he comes over the house, Rob's just like, oh my God, this guy's not as good looking as he is on TV, right?
Yeah.
Right?
No,
right?
he has a really good sense of humor and he's super down to earth. So it's all out the window, Johnny. He's a good dude. He's just, I don't know how to describe it other than like, he's just a friend.
That's killer.
Yeah.
So new era people, who do you like so far?
In this season, I mean, it was tough to lose Rome. My godson,
right?
I watched it from a television point of view. Like, the guy was gold, right? Like, as a player, I don't know. Like strategically, it obviously didn't work out for him.
It's a balancing act, Rob. I mean, hey, good TV, good player. Rob season 1, not that great.
Yeah.
Player, TV, great, but you figured out you had a few opportunities, Rob. I'm just saying, but you figured it out. So
season 1, I would disagree slightly. I feel like I was like really ahead of the curve in my first season because I understood the strategy before a lot of people did.
Yeah, right? But just outcome. I'm not talking gameplay.
Oh yeah, outcome, of course. I wasn't able to, but it was like everybody's mentality was different. Like back then, people thought it was like, a show about creating a community on an island and living together in harmony. Like, what are we doing? We're going to vote everybody off and only one person wins.
Yeah.
Ironically, the only other person I think that truly understood the game that first season was John Carroll.
Oh, John Carroll. Okay.
He did. He understood it. But he was too blatant and out there about it. He thought that nobody else understood it, and I did. Okay. So,
have you seen John Carroll recently?
Have I seen him recently? No, but I heard he's going to be there.
Holy moly. He came to my finale party, and here it is. We're announcing it here first. I'm throwing a Survivor finale party at Jax's Bar, December 18th for season 47. Tickets will be available this week for free at survivortix.com. VIP tables are available. You can RSVP through Jax's Bar, but whatever. So John Carroll came to my party.
Sounds so good, dude. It sounds like you just read it off the teleprompter, but you've been rehearsing it all night long.
Yeah, I've been rehearsing. I've been rehearsing for 4 years, Rob.
That's amazing.
No, John Carroll came to my finale last season. He actually looks younger now than he did on the show.
He was on our podcast, Johnny. Like him and I did a podcast. He was a special guest. Fucking awesome. He's a beautiful person,
and like in inside and out. It is so amazing that he literally looks younger now, 20 years later.
So much nostalgia from those early seasons. I recently talked to Sean Rector from my first season.
You're the first person. Do you know? Yeah. Did you see? I don't know if you saw this on social media this week. Your first ever public interview you ever did, you defended Sean Rector.
I saw it. Yeah, I sent it to him, and then I commented on it. I'm still friends with him today because he did. He got a lot of heat, But I was right there with him, catching that heat too. Back then, dude, like we were wise asses, you followed the script to a T a few seasons later, right? Like, and we got away with it, but it was a different world. Like you couldn't now. And there was
Tom. I mean, think about Big Tom in 2024.
No chance. But the thing is, like, where it gets taken out of context a little bit, I think, is that, like, there was never any malice behind, the commentary. It was all done from a place of making a joke. And, I think everybody's sensitivity levels were a lot less then. I wouldn't make the same jokes today. It's a different time.
Yeah,
But even then, it was never, nothing was meant maliciously towards anyone.
what a lot of people don't understand is, because as soon as Paramount Plus launched, all the seasons, and then with COVID and the lockdown and Netflix and everything, like I get messages, they're like, "You're a piece of shit. I hate you. How can you say things?" Listen, I was attempting to make a TV show and be a bad guy. B, the world was a different place. It was Howard Stern, South Park, Jerry Springer, WWE. It was different. It was horrible in some ways, wonderful
Danny
in others.
Bonaducci. I remember that night. I was there that night.
Which one?
The Danny Bonaducci.
Oh, yeah. So the world was a different place. But at the same time, I patterned my game. Like when I was cast, I'd never seen the show before, and so I went on eBay. I ordered every episode, and Lynn Spillman's calling me every 2 days. She was like, "Have you got to Boston Rob yet? Have you got to Boston Rob yet? Have you got to Boston?" She goes, "I want Boston Rob." So I finally get to you. I'm like, "This guy didn't even make the merge." She goes, "I don't care. It's good TV. That's what I want." And then I get to Rob C, and I'm just like, "Okay, this is comparable." He's jumping from alliance to alliance without consequence. Let me incorporate. Let me put all these things together and make a Jonny Fairplay. But with Rob C, these weren't characters. These were bad guy characters, but not with malice. And I wasn't a character with malice. I did like everyone's just like, who do you consider in the Marvel universe? I'm like, I'm Loki. Like, Loki's not a bad guy. I mean, he does bad things, but at the same time, it's with a wink and a nod. Fast forward, you have a Russell Hantz, who is a bad person.
I think like a little bit of it is like, you play that character on TV, but then like when you go to like a Survivor event or an event somewhere else, the people expect you to be that character.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it gets hard. Like I remember after Survivor All Stars going around a lot with Rupert, and like he played this pirate, whatever, right? And then everybody expected that, and he had to be that. And deep down inside, like Rupert's not like, all the time. He's not that. And I think like consciously, that was one thing I always tried to do throughout all the television stuff I did was to just be me so that after I don't feel like I have to like play a character or put on an act and it's just seamless and easy, because it could get really, really difficult trying to keep up what you think the audience wants all the time,
Yeah, Rupert showing up for a kid's appearance, hitting a vape in the parking lot is not what people want to see.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't, but yeah.
I mean, who's to say? I was just throwing out.
I thought you were going to say ripping Marlboro Reds, no filters, but I guess that's the modern age vape.
I don't think. I was talking 2023.
Oh boy!
But Rob, obviously, you've had a lot of financial success and fame from being on reality TV. But from my perspective, when you really won Survivor was meeting your wife and your daughters, right?
Yeah.
So that has to be like, if you're looking at your entire life, that is the prize, right? Is that. So besides your beautiful wife and your children, which I know are your everything, like what is this reality TV thing kind of, what's the next best thing that has brought to Boston Rob's life?
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. Like meeting my wife and my kids for sure. I think like I definitely had a full circle moment on season 40 when all the winners were out there and all of a sudden my parents and my kids came out to the island and were there with 4 kids that, wouldn't even exist if it weren't for this show, and it was like, wow, like, like you think the show doesn't define you, but it's like literally the reason I have my family and my kids. And you couldn't predict it. I didn't expect it. I signed up to go on the show to try to win $1 million, and I was able to do that. But like, it's brought so many other things for sure, and I feel super grateful. And try to stay humble and like give back where I can. I think nothing's ever promised. You don't know, but I think a lot of the lessons that I learned from playing Survivor are super applicable in life. And I think the biggest one is your ability to adapt to different situations. Like, you're out there on the island, just like last week in the episode, there's a twist, there's a merge, there's something that's going to happen in your life. You're going to get kicked down. Somebody's going to get sick. Somebody's going to get cancer. Somebody might have an accident. How you respond to different situations makes all the difference. And you have to keep fighting. I didn't win the first time I played. Like Jonny aptly said, it took me 4 times. Luckily, I got 4 chances, but I did. And I never quit and I never gave up. And I think that's the mentality. Like, I tell my
say
kids
4
in
times.
school.
It's every other podcast but this one.
What's that?
I didn't say it today.
Yeah. You did actually, but no, it's all good.
Who's to say?
Yeah. Who's to say? Rewind it. Edit that out. It's all good.
Well, no, keep it in.
Well, you do. You have to keep trying, And I think I tell a lot of kids, and I tell my own kids, like don't quit, don't give up. If you get knocked down, get back up, and keep trying. And admittedly, I have lost way more than I've won, right? But like, the thing is, like, I keep moving forward and trying, and I think those lessons that like are applicable on the show are good lessons for life as well. Yeah.
So I have a question. Season 50 is out there. People are talking about it.
Yeah.
I guess it's a 2-parter. A, how would you cast season 50? And B, what do you think is season 50? And are they the same things?
I don't. So it's funny. A long time ago, when they were talking about doing season 40, I talked to Jeff, and he's like, "What do you think about doing a winter season?" And I was like, maybe save it for 50, but like they didn't think like if 50 would ever even come,
Yeah.
So
it's here.
I feel like, here's the thing, right? Like, the fans of the show want to see the big name characters, almost like you said before about like, like make it a recurring thing, like where you see the same people, like the challenge, right? At the same time, I feel like people like myself and Sandra and Parvati, and like we've done it so many times. Like, yeah, it'd be great, but like we're just going through it again. And I truly feel like it's like, let's give someone else a shot, like let's give somebody else a chance. So there's a lot being said about like the old school versus the new school. And I think ultimately, like, that's what I would like to see, some rendition of that. Players that, can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So like players that like potentially haven't won before, but still would be nostalgic in the audience's mind. People like you, Jonny, someone like Sari, Rob Sesternino. I always put my boy Sean Rector out there. I'd love to see him again. And then from the new school, there are definitely characters, guys like my buddy Jonathan. I'd like to see him again. So obviously there's a much bigger pool of people to pull from the old school than there is the new school. But that's what I would like to see. That's what I would like to watch. And whether or not it happens or not, I don't know. I got no pull in that department.
But you wouldn't want to, or you don't think?
I feel like me personally playing? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
I don't want to. No.
Okay.
I really feel fulfilled in my survivor journey. I feel like I've done everything. And like to me that cumulative full circle moment was when my kids came out to the island. You know, I don't feel like I have anything to prove. Is the good possibility that I'll make it a little way and then they'll cut me, you know? So like to go through the motions again, I feel like my spot would be better well served given somebody else a shot. And that's the
Well,
truth. And
I
if
will
there's some way I can
take your
come out
spot,
and be a
Rob.
part of it to help, like I'm not going to mentor people that have played before, you know, because that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But I told Jeff if there's a way to be a part of the show without playing, then I'm happy to help celebrate. But I'm not. I absolutely. I don't have the desire. I don't. Like I love the show. It's given me so much. But truly, like I feel fulfilled and I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll definitely take your spot for you. That's fine.
You got it, dude. You got it.
Jeff,
If you can
you heard it
earn it.
here
I mean,
first.
I don't know. We'll see.
Jeff, Boston Rob has bestowed me his spot. I will reluctantly. I will take it.
Will you wear a Red Sox hat? Just don't go out there with the Yankees hat.
Oh no. I hate the Yankees more than the Red Sox. I'm an NL guy. I'm Atlanta Braves. I'm a T-Bird guy.
Dodgers had a good year this year. Mookie
Well,
Betts, former Red Sox.
when I lived in LA, I used to go to Dodger games. I regardless of what you think about the Dodgers, if anyone has not been to a Dodger game, that sunset over the stadium is one of the coolest things in all of baseball.
Amazing. Let me flip the script on you. How do you think you would do in a new era playing with these new guys?
Oh, great. I mean, I feel like my adaptability is because I did Survivor, but I did Celebrity Poker Showdown, Celebrity Fear Factor, Kill Reality, Camp Reality. I did House of Villains. Like House of Villains has that sped up gameplay time. I feel like I'm good there. I'm 50 years old. I just ran a half marathon like 4 weeks ago, and at a really good pace. I don't.
But you and I both know, like the physicality is not even a thing anymore at all.
No,
I mean that's evidence. Like it's just not. They don't make it part of it. You know.
Yeah, but as far as I think that I do the podcast. I talk to peek behind the curtain. Me and Rome talk before every episode. I'm chatting. I like who I like. I feel like the heavy hitters are going to be there. I'm friends with some of those people, and I'm friends with the friends I am friends with, and I don't like the people that I don't like. And I feel like the people that I don't like or potentially don't like me, I feel like there's more of them. And that's great because I'm not trying to send home my friends. I'm trying to work with the select few that I have to potentially work with and get rid of the enemies that I have before me.
So that's like a really interesting dynamic that's super evident of like the new school philosophy and like something that I didn't subscribe to in season 40 and ultimately cost me and Amber our game because like I didn't play the whole pregame, figure it out before we get out there or whatever. And not that I'm saying that you're doing that, but it's like
I have zero desire to pregame. I am very anti. I have hated that for multiple seasons. However, if there's friendships that I have that exist going in, they're there, and
but that's where it gets blurred, right? You're going to find yourself in a Lex situation if you start, like you got to be careful.
Well, no. But I will tell friends and enemies the same thing. You can have the best friend you've ever had in your entire life that's never been in your house and slept in your room or in your bed. Like when you live with someone, it's not the same thing as being their friend in real life. So there's people that like it's just like, oh my god, is this like when we hang out at the bar, we're cool. You know, we hang out at an event, we're cool. But you literally spend like hour number 5 with this person, they're the worst. So I will throw that out there, just like, hey, you're cool right now. Like if that changes, shit could change for me too. So, and people that, you know, you see on TV, you're like, oh my God, they're the fucking worst. And then you fucking meet them, and you're like, oh my God, you got a shit edit. You're pretty cool.
See, like, I think, like, put aside the exterior, right? Like, you got to look at it through the other people's viewpoint, through their eyes, right? Like, the new school guys, when they go back, because they're going to go back and they're going to watch the old seasons, they're going to see the Johnny, the grandma, the whole situation, right? Which is notorious and it's great. But deep down inside, really deep down, you have a good heart, right?
Yeah.
And you're a good dude. So you're going to have to be able to show that side to them and put the other stuff aside because they're going to prejudge you. That's just the way it is.
Well, the same people that are analyzing my gameplay, when Burton came back, like we were the most 2 solid people at like, as you're talking alliance-wise in the history of the show. Like once Burton came back, there was nothing I would do to fuck over Burton and literally jeopardize my game multiple times in the game to save him.
I mean, I've been married almost 20 years, so I don't know if it's the tightest alliance.
One of, not the one of. I like your chances. It's Jonny Fairplay, reality TV icon, Survivor Hall of Famer, and I'm talking today about Work Money. Work Money is a non-profit organization that focuses on lowering costs and raising incomes for all Americans to make American life more affordable and American families more economically secure. They provide products, services, perks, benefits, tips, and tools to help members improve their financial lives. It's time to level up and make more money in this economy. We're talking getting rich. Now, this sweepstakes is giving away $50,000. You can use this to pay your rent, your mortgage. Imagine what you can do with all the money that you'll save. Now, this is put on by Work Money, and this site has all these sick benefits, and it's free. Go sign up right now and get more rich. Now, listen, you can change your life. Now, what would you do if you didn't have to pay your rent or mortgage for a year? Listen. Sign up right now for free. Link is available right here in the show notes. Check them out. Personally, I'd get more pinball machines. I'm Jonny Fairplay. I wouldn't lie about that. It's Work Money. More money.
So, Rob, obviously, season 47 has been, to me, one of the greatest new era seasons that has been going on. Who is your winner pick for this season, season 47?
I mean, it's wild, right? Like, because we're coming down to it. This is the part of the game where it gets really fun. Like, the first part before the merge, it's fun to watch, but now you start to see the strategy of the different contestants, you know, open up. I like someone like Sam, who's kind of in the background, but he's still, like, out there. It feels like he's in a lot of different groups. I think he could do well. I like Teeny. I think she's playing a good game. I would say one of those two. Those are my picks. I think Sue is a favorite to go far, not necessarily to win, but I think she could be the proverbial second place finisher, just based on the edit and what I've seen her, how she's playing. You know, but like I said, with the new era Survivor, the way things are, like anything could happen at any day. There could be a twist. It could be somebody could be doing really good, and one little thing could mess them up. So I don't know. I've never been good at predicting the winners.
We're the worst.
Genevieve is my winner pick.
I think Sam seems like understated, quiet confidence, and I like that. I think he goes deep.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, Matt and I are notorious for jinxing players. Like my winner pick was John Lovett, and I'm just like, oh well, since John Lovett's gone, I'm gonna double down on Rome, and I'm like, oh my god, I need to stop saying people's names out loud. I'm just jinxing them. So, but I will give a peek behind the curtain. I was at an event in North Carolina last night. It was Rob C, Sandra, Sabrina, Jane Bright, Nina, Sandra's daughter, who won the Anonymous, was there, and it was a really, really cool deal. And we got to watch next week's episode. So no spoilers, but it is the auction episode. And CBS, where they brought us all in, we were at UNC Chapel Hill. And it was one of the coolest things ever. We watched the episode. After the episode, the screen rises up and there's these tables, and we had an actual Survivor auction. And they literally had the gavel and the piece of wood thingy from the episode. Okay. And so we're sitting there, and they were like, it's over 1,000 people at the student union at UNC Chapel Hill. And they're like, look under your chair. There's 8 people with an envelope with cash. Come to the stage. You're doing the Survivor auction. So we do the Survivor auction, we bring, and it's like, hey, you're bidding on a buff, and they're like, oh, go $100, whatever, and so we do the deal. I bring out, of course, a blue buff, and the guy bids $200, and I was like, hey, you got this, you can keep this, or you can choose the covered option. And I was like, look, I know what's underneath there, and I don't want to tell you what to do, but I would definitely take what's underneath there. And he does, and it's fish eyes, and I leave with the blue buff because I'm an asshole. But we finish the auction. It's all done, and Rob C goes, wait, I forgot. There's one more item up for bid. The actual gavel and piece of wood from the episode.
Oh my God.
From season 47. And 2 people combined their money, and they got the actual item, and they lost their freaking minds.
That's so
cool.
It was one of the coolest things. I mean, these people were like, it was an awesome night. Like my favorite part of the night was they brought us out beforehand. They're like, hey, we're gonna do some pictures real quick, and so there's this big long line, and the handler comes there. They're like, hey, I need to take Johnny for a second. He'll be right back. I'm like, I'm not coming back. They're lying to you, and they were correct. I was not coming back.
Sestonino is great, man. He really he's really great the way he runs that podcast and interacts with the fans and stuff. I definitely got a strong appreciation.
Oh no, what is happening here? The worst run-in ever.
All right, guys, I gotta go. I'll see ya.
What are you doing?
What's up,
Ethan
guys?
Zohn.
I'm at
What
the
does he think?
New York
He's
City
Tom
Marathon.
Cruise or something over here with these glasses? Where'd you park your
Sorry,
F-16, bro?
What's up, Iceman?
is that better? There we go. How's that?
Yeah, sideways. That's much better.
That's good. Sideways.
Well, I'm here in New York City because Grassroots Soccer, the charity that I co-founded.
What did I tell you?
With the money that I won from Survivor.
There's a bunch of winners hanging out here.
35 runners in the New York City Marathon this year. So there you go.
Rob, you're running right now? You don't appear to be running that fast.
Don't tell me I still don't got it. I can predict what's going to happen before it even happens.
Yeah, right.
I mean, Fairplay, you are always posting pictures of you running. Why haven't you ever run the marathon for Grassroots Soccer?
So peek behind the curtain. I just finished a half marathon. I think I've run 8 half marathons. I've never run a full marathon. It was announced during my last half marathon, Danville, Virginia is doing a full marathon next year, and you can qualify for the Boston Marathon. So you know what? I might just run a marathon, Ethan.
Rob, didn't you run the Boston Marathon?
I did run the Boston Marathon 24 years ago in the year 2000.
Damn.
I ran the first 13 miles and walked the last 13 and stopped halfway at Wellesley College and drank beers and ate burgers. But I finished it It took me 6.5 hours. I finished it, and then I didn't walk again for another 3 days, and I said, I'll never do that again.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
I think I saw a picture of you post that marathon during Deal or No Deal Island. Didn't you make a T-shirt of that? Oh, Ethan, you have a T-shirt to promote,
I just
right?
want to pop. I don't know. I used to sell T-shirts back in the day, you know.
Okay. Oh, good.
But
Oh, we
I
just
also
thought you
sell
were here to
Crunch Balls.
pimp
Fair
T-shirt.
play.
Oh, Crunch Balls. Yeah, I have a Crunch Ball in my house. So I have 2 Crunch Balls. Yeah.
But anyway, I just want to say hi, Rob. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Hope you guys are having fun. And thanks for letting me plug the charity. Appreciate it.
Yeah, grassroots soccer, everybody.
Thanks, brother. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Rob,
You guys are lucky because now people actually listen to this show because I'm on it.
Yeah. So lucky.
Thank you. Thanks for the rub. Thanks for the rub, Ethan. We had Boston Rob. Do we really need you? When's the last time anyone talked about Ethan other than his log in the last 20 years? Remember when Ethan almost died? I'm like, what, the cancer? No, the log.
But Boston Rob, Ethan, Jonny Fairplay, thank you so much, listeners and lovers of Survivor. That's why you're listening to this podcast. Rob, it's been really killer.
Matt, you're
very
awesome,
few
dude.
podcasts. When Sari came on, there's been very few podcasts. We've done hundreds and hundreds, but this one was special to me. I think people are going to love this. So thank you very much for coming on, dude. And hopefully we'll meet in person down the road. Cheers to your family, everything that you have going on. Is there anything you want to plug like Ethan did before we go?
Just that I'm going to be with Johnny at Over the Edge in Orlando, Florida, December 5th and 6th. I'm not going to be there the 7th or whatever is it 5th and 6th?
Whatever. The first weekend in
the first 2
in
days
December.
I'll be there. I won't be there the third day.
Yeah.
There you go.
So and Rob's raising money. We'll put his link in the show notes. I'm also raising money. What's your charity this year, Rob?
St. Jude's Children's.
You didn't go grassroots soccer. I see how that is.
They were a close second. They just got beat out by by kids that actually need the money. No, I'm just kidding.
There is that. Boston Rob, what's your social media? You're on Instagram. Just
I am
Rob
on
Mariano?
Instagram. Yeah, I think it's Boston Rob Mariano.
Yeah. So I'm at Jonny Fairplay. That's at the Matt Bischoff. I just announced yesterday. I will be in Durham, North Carolina. Clouds Brewcade used to be called Clouds Brewing. November 13th. Tickets are available right now at survivortix.com. It's a Survivor viewing party November 13th. Also doing the finale December 18th at Jax's Bar. We all love Jax for Vanderpump Rules. Rob might know a Vanderpump Rule fellow or two. So so check it out. We'll be there. We're hosting the viewing party and the unofficial after party for the finale of season 47 there at Jax's. So if you know what that means, you know what that means. So we will see you there. Go to survivortix.com. That's survivortix.com. I'm at Jonny Fairplay. No H in Johnny. Woo! Thank you so much, Boston Rob. Thank you, Matt Bischoff, as always. And thank you, everyone, for watching. Bye, everybody.
Cheers.